dreamers, visionaries, and revolutionaries. It's the Ratchet Sage, and I'm back with another deep dive into systems that serve you. And for those of you who are new here, I'm Ebony L. Green, and at Authentic Distinction, I specialize in provoking coaches, freelancers, and solopreneurs to fix the failing systems that are holding them back. And after decades of experience in planning, implementing, and evaluating visions, I've seen firsthand how the wrong systems can trap even the most brilliant minds. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or like you're working harder but seeing fewer results, I want you to know that it's not you, it's your systems. And last time we talked about why your business systems might be failing you, and I broke down exactly how to fix them from the foundation up, okay? But today we're going to go deep into the two types of systems every entrepreneur needs to build an authentic business that lasts. So in my last video, I talked about how missing the right foundational systems for you will lead to a failing system. And I broke down what those foundational systems are. They're inspiration, feedback, and connection. And I encourage you to look at each of those three as a system so that they can serve as a solid foundation for your success. Because inspiration verifies your vision, feedback validates your direction, and connection sustains your growth. Plus, I broke down how traditional best practices keep failing you because they decenter your truth, they decenter your humanity, and altogether, we were able to talk about how your system should serve you, not the other way around. So I offered you implementation strategies that were tailored to your change maker type. Whether you were a dreamer, a visionary, or revolutionary, I gave you that work. And we closed out by reminding each of you that your success comes from building systems that align with your natural workflows while you're incorporating the right inspired perspectives for you, regular feedback that's right for you, and connected in communities that are right for you. When you have those three situations set up, you can have the right foundational systems for you, regardless of whether you're a dreamer, visionary, and revolutionary. And I gave you some implementation strategies on how to get there. So in this episode, we are going to have a little chatty chat about these systems because after decades of doing this work, baby, it is clear to me that y'all don't realize the significance of systems and therefore are missing out on your ability to leverage them for your business. So let me break down for you the two types of systems you will want in place and ready to work for you as you build an authentic business that lasts. So y'all might have heard me say or saw in the thumbnail that people ain't talking about systems right. I alluded to that, and I mean that. I'll say it with my whole chest. Y'all ain't talking about systems right. We always want to think about technology when we talk about systems. That's part of the reason why we ain't using technology right, and when we do use technology right, the tech is fine, but we haven't set it up right for us. Because we don't understand that there's a whole class of systems that don't got nothing to do with technology, not a damn thing, that are required for us to even set up our technological systems the right way. And so when we get into business and we start talking about, thinking about systems as only technological, it's a whole fallacy. And so I will say, unless a system is governed by nature or the elements, know that the systems that cause us to struggle in life and business are all human-made. Let's just start there. Other than an ecosystem, a biosystem, something that we did not create, these systems that cause us to struggle in life and business are all human-made. And there are two types of human-made systems that we're dealing with. But we have these two types of human-made systems because of something that's counterintuitive, and it's control. The fact that we have two types of human-made systems is all about control. If a human being or a set of humans, a group of humans control the system, then it is human-based, okay? So I want you to think of the foundational systems we spoke about in the last video. Your foundational systems of inspiration, feedback, and connection. These are great examples of human-based, yet human-made systems, right? And if you don't have the right inspiration, the right feedback, and the right connection for you, you're going to have a failing system for you. And this is a human-based, human-made failing system, okay? So that means that there's something you can do about it. But when tech or AI is controlling the system, while humans maintain or monitor the system, then the system is tech-based. So if you think about like a temperature monitoring system in the sub-zero freezers and research labs all around the world, as equipment, each is human monitored and human maintained. Otherwise, they're going to fail, they're going to break, no one's maintaining them, they won't operate appropriately, you won't get the appropriate readings, your samples will be screwed, okay? So as equipment, Each of these sub-zero freezers are human monitored and human maintained, but all of them are a great example of tech-based human-made systems because the majority of its functioning as a sub-zero freezer is happening within those computers that are doing all that temperature monitoring, those temperature monitoring systems in those sub-zero freezers. So that would be a tech-based system that is human monitored and human maintained. And all tech-based systems are human monitored and human maintained, but they're also human made. And I think we forget this. So when we start talking about our business systems, all of our business systems, understand that all systems that humans can do something about are human made. And who or what holds the majority of the control in that system will determine whether or not that human made system is human based or tech based. And in your business, you're going to need human-based and tech-based systems. And so because all of those systems, human-based and tech-based, are human-made, if they're not working for you, if they're a failing system, there is something you can do about it. And I also want you to understand that these human-based and tech-based systems work together because they're all human-made systems. So they just hunky-dory in together. That's how they work. So most often, human-made systems exist on a spectrum, and they're more often than not a mix of a human-based system and tech-based systems together. So if you think about a human-made system that can be more human-based, but still a mix of a little bit of tech, you can think about your business operations. So you got your policies, your procedures, your processes, and those are mostly human-based, but they will inevitably have some tech-based elements unless you're just not interested in things like efficiency and productivity, okay? Like leverage technology for things like policy, procedures, and processes. But the formulation of your policies, procedures, and processes, the decisions, the choices that go into your policies, procedures, and processes, how you disseminate those policies, procedures, and processes so that people actually can absorb them, how you check people on those policies, procedures, and processes, those things are human-based. And that's the human-based part of your business operations, which is a human-made system. But you will have a tech-based side of your business operations. And even though altogether your business operations is a human-made system, the majority of it is going to be human-based when you're talking about your policies, your procedures, and processes. But you want to be leveraging technology so that you can get the most out of those policies, procedures, and processes that you created from those human-based systems that you have. But you also have human-made systems that are more tech-based with a little bit of sprinkle of a human-based system. I want you to think about your website build. With you setting up your style classes, your sales copy, and your salacious content, listen, so many of the decisions that go into the very technical process of setting up your style classes as you're building a website, putting in that sales copy to drive what's happening when people get to that website, and then the salacious content that you're putting together to keep people on the website and going places and doing things and making it a whole funnel for your whole brand and your business, right? You want to leverage that website, so you got to build it right. But all of the technical things that you're building into those style classes, sales copy, and salacious content, it's influenced and governed by the desires you have, the choices you've already made and plan to make, and also the actions that you've taken and plan to take. And those desires, choices, and actions, those are all human-based systems. Your desires, choices, and actions. These human-based systems heavily influence the tech-based parts of the overall complex human-made system of developing and then leveraging your own website. And this is what I want you to understand. 2 different types of systems. Human-based, tech-based, and both of them are human-made. And if they're failing you, you're the only person that can do something about it. So let me tell you why it's important to separate these into 2 different types. So I'm about to put y'all in the game. I'm about to put y'all on to what most coaches, freelancers, and solopreneurs do not understand. Because they are out here focusing on the tech-based systems and completely ignoring the human-based systems. When in reality, this is ashy as all hell. Because your tech-based systems require a solid handling of your human-based systems to even be able to be set up right. For you to set them up right, you got to be handling your human-based systems right. And if your systems aren't set up right, you can't use them right. But even if they are set up right, you won't use them right if you don't have a solid handling of your human-based systems. So the human-based systems are actually way more important than the tech-based systems. And if you don't set those human-based systems up right, your tech-based systems ain't gonna work for you. And the first thing we do as entrepreneurs is run out there as a coach, a freelancer, and a solopreneur. We want to set up our tech. What's your tech stack? What's your tech stack? What's your tech stack? Does it matter if you don't know what your human-based systems are? I'm just saying. These are some of the issues that we get into. And I don't want y'all to fall into this trap. So getting into entrepreneurship without this system site that I'm giving you is a failing system. You have this failing system because of how much more you trust what others say over what you say. I see y'all out here more interested in what other people who have no idea what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. You be so focused on what they think that you forget how to know what you think. And I hope you see what I'm putting down here. Even your way of processing what you think right now is a human-based, human-made system made by you. And all the decision choices you made, what you chose to let in, what you chose to ignore, has led to the human-based, human-made system you are using right now to process what you are hearing me say right now. To even come up with what do I think about what this bitch is saying. You have got to use your human-based, human-made system of processing what you are thinking right now. And I know y'all probably thinking, I didn't know that systems were this deep. And that's what I'm saying. People trying to talk about systems and they don't know what they're talking about. They want you to come and set up this technological system, and they're not even asking you the human-based systems questions so that they can set up the system right for you. So stay away from these experts, these consultants, these strategists that are trying to help you set up a system or a strategy, and they're not asking you any questions about your human-based systems, because you got to know there's a human-based system. You got a foundational system of what is inspiring you, what feedback are you getting and working with, and what connections do you have. And on top of that, you're going to throw in there your human-made systems before you start fucking with a tech-based system. So you got human-based systems, tech-based systems, all on top of your foundational systems, which also are human-made systems. Foundational systems, human-based systems, tech-based systems. All three are human-made. Which means that if something ain't working right in the foundational systems, the human-based systems, or the tech-based systems, guess what? You can do something about it. Tech-based system ain't working right, go back to the human-based systems. What did you do wrong with the human-based systems that led to this failure in the tech-based system? Something ain't going right in the human-based systems. What is going on with the foundational systems? What inspired this? What feedback did I get that told me this was okay when it's not? And what connections do I have, or am I missing? Because nobody told me this wasn't okay, so I might be missing a connection, okay? I want you to look at things that way. This is how this works as a system, because otherwise you won't be reaping the benefits. If you don't look at this as a system, you're not really reaping the benefits of the system that you have. In fact, they're probably screwing you. And so you're thinking, it's a problem with my pricing. I got to change my offer. I got to rebrand. Stop rebranding. Stop reinventing yourself. Fix your failing systems. That's the problem. It's not you, boo. It's probably not the greatness you're putting out there. It's not your genius. There's a failing system at play. And this is the issue at hand. Coaches, freelancers, and solopreneurs, all alike. Y'all are all obsessed with failing systems, and it's like trying to compete with robots when you are a human. You're worried about what everybody else is doing with AI. Why does that matter when you don't use AI like they do? You don't have to compete with them. You got to push out your content. You got to push out the content you was going to put out. So what if they put out 50 pieces of bullshit-ass content this week? If you put out 5 pieces of amazing content that converts, that's way more powerful than their 50 pieces of AI languaged content. And when you weaponize your tech stack against your competitors instead of leveraging it for your stakeholders, baby, failing systems. And I want you to understand your stakeholders include you too. Not looking at yourself as a stakeholder is a failing system too. But I digress. When you weaponize your tech stack against your competitors instead of leveraging it for your stakeholders, we got a problem. People be out here like, oh, I use this, I do this, you ain't working with the right systems. That's a failing system, so you're not working with the right systems for you either. Sit down. You want to be leveraging your tech stack for your stakeholders, which means unless someone is your stakeholder, they don't need to know anything about your tech stack. That's not their business. It also hits like listening to other people tell you to focus more on tech, so you end up not focusing on your foundational systems, like we talked about in the last video, and you end up with shitty tech stacks anyway. So focus on the foundational systems. And last but certainly not least, you end up creating your tech-based systems before you get clear, confident, and resilient in your human-based systems. So nothing ends up working out the way you thought it would. And all of this is so very ashy. But more importantly, it's devastating for you and your business. So I want you to remember, your tech-based human-made systems should support your human-based human-made systems. Your tech-based systems do not dictate your human-based systems. In fact, your tech-based systems are informed by your human-based systems. So you want to start with the human-based systems and then use what you know from that to inform what those tech-based systems should look like for you. Because not having your own intimate knowledge of how these human-based systems work for you will leave you in the dark when it comes to these tech-based systems. There's nothing to inform what is to be happening in the tech space. You feel me? It's like somebody saying, let's set up your Dubsado. Wonderful. And they start asking you a bunch of questions. Dubsado's asking you a bunch of questions as you go to set it up. You don't know the answer to those questions because you don't have the right human-based systems for you. Not because you're not ready to be an entrepreneur or you're dumb or something's wrong with you. You just need to set up the right human-based systems for you and you'll know the answers to those questions. So yeah, I don't want y'all out here ashy, not knowing about these human-based systems, because that in and of itself is a failing system. So let's get into the context at play. Because systems that work for you will always be aligned with your whole ass truth. And we keep talking about this, and I'm going to keep going over it, because you got to understand there's always a context to something. And if you're looking at anything that matters without context, shallow viewing, boo. And I don't want you shallow viewing. Like, that is not the way for you to get to where you want to go. So we're going to get into this context side of things so that you can discern for yourself. Because, Sib, only you know your truth. And so I want you to let me know in the comments below if you resonate with this or know of anyone who is struggling with this right now, because this is rampant in these internet streets. And I'm sure you see it. Even if it's not something you're doing, you see folks out here doing this and folks out here needing some milk. All right. So let folks know about the video if this is something that actually is working for you or you're resonating with, even if it's just because you see other people doing it. All right. And if you're committed to transforming your failing systems into authentic ones that actually work for you and your business, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates from my channel. So let's get into the context at play here. I have 5 things I want to share with you. Let's just start with 1. Whether a human-made system is human-based or tech-based, it will not work for you if it's not true to all of you. And this means your greatness and your mess. I see people out here creating, whether it's a human-based system or a tech-based system, and they're just focusing on their strengths. Now, we certainly want to be strengths-based and strengths-focused when we are dealing with humans. I agree with that approach. I'm 100% on board with that as a strategy. However, when you are building systems, whether they are human-based or tech-based, your human-made systems must account for greatness and for mess. So for instance, if you are setting up your human-based system for when you are going to see clients, so you setting up your Calendly or Acuity scheduling or whatever scheduling system you're using, right? You are setting that up. And you're trying to decide, when are you going to have these open slots for people to book into? I don't want you only accounting for your strengths. Oh, I'm really, really great at doing consultations back to back to back to back. Well, that's great. That tells you one part of how you need to set up that human-based system of when to open up slots in the tech-based system, right? Of Calendly or whatever you're using. But you also want to account for your mess. Like, if you know you are groggy in the morning, then none of those slots should be in the morning. I don't care if you're doing back to back, if that's part of your strengths. Account for the mess, okay? And I also see larger companies doing this. If you know that half or a large percentage of your team at your organization is not tech savvy, like they the type of people you got to be like, click on this and click on that and then do this. And then 2 weeks later, they're emailing you again and saying, how do you do this? You cannot be implementing a huge system like SAP or Salesforce without accounting for that. That means you got to have onboarding, you got to have documentation, you got to have trainings, copious trainings, and something that people can access asynchronously, okay? Because this is going to happen with a team that is not tech savvy. That's the mess of your organization. So don't just focus on the greatness. We're heading into certain places, so we need SAP. We need Salesforce. You probably do. But don't just focus on the greatness when you're setting up the human-based parts of that tech-based system. So account for all of you and all of your business, the greatness and the mess, when you are setting up human-made systems. I don't care whether or not they're human-based or tech-based. Now, 2. When a system is true to you, I call that an Authentic A.S.S system, okay? A.S stands for Actionable Safe Spaces, and if you are not new to me and you're true to me, you know what an actionable safe space is. So when I say bring your ass, flex your ass, grow your ass, all the ways I use ass, I am never swearing at you. It is all about you having actionable safe spaces and what you got going on. And I am a huge proponent, arguer. I'll argue with anybody about this. Safe spaces cannot be created for you. You create safe spaces for you. So if you are a dreamer, a visionary, or revolutionary out there, I want you to get good at creating actionable safe spaces for yourself, because they cannot be created for you. Just like any safe space can't be created for you. I believe that people can provide a protected space for you. I wouldn't advise being in communities that are not protected spaces. That's ill-advised. It's also ashy. I would highly recommend that you are in communities and in spaces that you feel are protected for you, meaning that all of you is protected in that space. And someone can work hard to do that. You can raise your hand and say, you know what, this isn't working for me. You know, this is, and that person says, you know what, let's make that accommodation. That's a protected space. But that doesn't mean that you're definitely guaranteed safety in that space. That doesn't mean that you might not have to leave that space, vacate the premises, because that's just not working for you anymore, right? As you grow, not everything that used to work for you is going to work for you. And as you grow, you're going to need other things. And so you get to define what a safe space is for you, which means you get to create it. No one can go inside of your head, your heart, your soul, and go, oh, I see what they need, and then give it to you. On the outside of your body. That's not how this works. So safe spaces cannot be given to you. You have to create them for yourself. And that's all kinds of safe spaces. Psychological safe spaces, sexual safe spaces, actionable safe spaces. They cannot be given to you. You create them for yourself. And it's super important that you understand that. So when I say you want an authentic ass system, you want a system that's true to you and it helps you get to an actionable safe space. And the number one reason I see that people don't exist and operate as solopreneurs, freelancers, and coaches in an actionable safe space, they're operating with failing systems. And it's the failing systems that keep them from the actionable safe space that they so desire. So number 3, authentic A.S.S systems work together. I need you to understand that. Just like your computer and the internet, when authentic to you and working for you, your systems will interlock and function together as your authentic A.S.S infrastructure. So you've got the foundational systems of inspiration, feedback, and connection, and they work all together, but they also work with what you put on top of them, okay? So authentic A.S.S systems interweave and work together. The foundational systems end up interweaving with the human-made systems, which end up interweaving with the tech-based systems. That's how this works. And as they interlock and function together, they end up becoming what I call your authentic A.S.S infrastructure. And that's only if it's working for you. Otherwise, you just got some kind of infrastructure, but it's probably not providing an actionable safe space because it's not true to you. It's a failing system. 4, you're going to need certain authentic A.S.S systems depending upon whether you're a dreamer, a visionary, or revolutionary. See, dreamers don't need the same authentic A.S.S systems that visionaries do. Visionaries don't need the same authentic A.S.S systems that revolutionaries do. And revolutionaries, they need certain authentic A.S.S systems, plus they need what I call revolutionary A.S.S systems, but I'll talk about that in future videos. And 5, you will need all 7 components of authentic A.S.S infrastructure in order as a coach, freelancer, and solopreneur. How big you build each component of your authentic A.S.S infrastructure, so to speak, will be dependent on whether you are a dreamer, a visionary, or a revolutionary. So regardless of whether you're a coach, a freelancer, or a solopreneur, you need all 7 components. But if you are a dreamer, coach, freelancer, or solopreneur, you may not need those 7 components to be as big or complex or convoluted as a visionary coach, freelancer, or solopreneur might need those components to be. And if you're a revolutionary coach, freelancer, or solopreneur, at that point, your 7 components of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure are pretty complex, beefed up, interconnected with things that are outside of just your world. And that's a very exciting place to be. So those are the 5 things that you want to understand about the context. And I'm also going to break down for you what these 7 components are. But I want you to understand this. Your whole truth is the inherent requisite for every system you build. So to build lasting systems that work for your business, never forget that they must be authentic to your whole ass self. They must integrate into your Authentic A.S.S systems, work together as infrastructure, align with your changemaker type, and follow all 7 components in the sequence of what I call your Authentic A.S.S infrastructure. Or you're going to be operating with an entire failing system, from the foundational systems, human-based systems, and tech-based systems. Failing system. And this is why I'm saying people ain't talking about systems right. Y'all underestimating and oversimplifying what systems really are. And this is the reason why when we get into business and we're doing all the work, we're working hard, we're up until 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're wondering why it's not working out. You're operating with a failing system. It's not you. It's not what you're trying to build. It's not what you're trying to do. It's what you're using to make it happen. It's not working for you. And it may have worked for her, them, him. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And figuring out what works for you is what's super important. So I think as we get into the 7 components of this Authentic A.S.S infrastructure, it'll begin to hit for you. Why? You want to make sure that these systems are bespoke to you. Now, let me be super candid that I'm just about to preview these 7 components for y'all, because I'm going to be talking about this throughout this quarter. This first quarter of 2025. So I don't want you to stress if this isn't all hitting tonight. This is meant to be a preview, and trust the Ratchet Sage got you this quarter, all right? So let me briefly go over the 7 components of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure. The first component is your why, and you start with that, your why. That's your being, your doing, and your desires. And I know everybody talks about why, but they don't talk about it the way I do. I want you to understand that your why is broken down into these Authentic A.S.S systems of your being, your Authentic A.S.S system of doing, and your Authentic A.S.S system of desire. And so when you are mastering those 3 Authentic A.S.S systems and working together, that's when you see your why. Okay? You want to master that first component of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure. The second component of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure is your way. This is your Authentic A.S.S system of your values, your Authentic A.S.S system of workflows, and your Authentic A.S.S system of your operations. And you'll start to see that there's a little bit of order in things. You don't understand what you value, it's going to be difficult for you to understand how you do things in your workflows. And without workflows, how do you get to your operations, right? So what's your way? Values, workflows, operations. Those are the Authentic A.S.S systems involved with your way, which is the second component of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure. Now, this third component of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure involves policies, procedures, and processes. It is your how. And the fourth component of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure is your when. It involves discernment, boundaries, and mechanisms. And again, I'm going to remind you, policies, procedures, and processes from your third component are systems, Authentic A.S.S systems, if you want them to be working for you. And your when is comprised of the systems, the Authentic A.S.S systems of discernment, boundaries, and mechanisms. We're going to get into what these are as we go along in this quarter. The fifth component of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure is your who. Who are your leads? Who are your clients? And who are your supporters? And how do you attract them and keep them in your world? Those are systems. How do you attract leads and convert them? How do you attract clients and keep them? And how do you attract supporters and leverage them? And all 3 of those systems of leads, clients, supporters, if they're authentic to you, will be Authentic A.S.S systems that lead up into that 5th component of your Authentic A.S.S infrastructure, which is your who. The 6th component of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure is your what. This is all about these Authentic A.S.S systems of blueprints, frameworks, and wheelhouse. You gotta have blueprints that lead to frameworks that lead to wheelhouses. Okay, you got a wheelhouse inside of you. You wouldn't see a blueprint and a framework, but until you clarify, conceptualize, outline, and frame out and build that wheelhouse, it's going to be kind of difficult for you to see the blueprints and the frameworks. So we're going to get into that as we go along in this quarter. And then there's your where. That is the 7th component of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure. And I want to give you a little context for the where. See, once you've got all these systems working for you in these different levels of components, your why is popping with being, doing, and desires. Your way is popping with values, workflows, and operations. Your how is popping with policies, procedures, and processes. You know your when because you've discerned, you got boundaries, and your mechanisms is popping too. Your who leads clients and supporters straight, okay? And your what, you got the blueprints, you got the frameworks, and you got the wheelhouse. But your where, that seventh component of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure, again, these go in order, like I've been giving you. But your where is the last one, because until all of that is set, you don't know where you are in this world interpersonally. You don't know where you are in this world collectively. And you don't know where you are in this world societally. It'll be difficult for you to see it. One, because it's a moving target. You're constantly growing to get to where you want to go as you're establishing your why, your way, your how, your when, your who, and your what. But once those are kind of set and working for you, they're not failing systems. Now you're in a situation where the seventh component is telling you exactly what you got going on with your interpersonal systems, what you got going on with your collective communal systems, and what you got going on with your societal systems. Who are you interpersonally to other people? Who are you to the collective? And who are you to society? And that becomes even clearer, and being able to scale that to where you want it to go, scale it down, because sometimes we want to sit down. Okay, ain't nothing wrong with that. Being in my mid-40s with a 7-year-old makes it clear to me that I'm not trying to do all the things that I wanted to do before I had that 7-year-old, right before I turned 40. So I think it's one of those things that you get to decide, am I scaling up or am I scaling down? But it's your where that's going to let you know where you're at to scale from. And it's very important that you know that. So I want you to remember, again, your system should serve you, not the other way around. And so when you think about these 7 components of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure and how they have all these little systems inside that are working together, and remember, you got foundational systems, human-made systems. And these 7 components of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure include human-made systems and tech-based systems. So it's not like, as we're going over this over the next quarter, we're not only talking about human-based systems. They're all human-made. But we're not only going to be talking about human-based systems. We're going to be also talking about the tech-based systems that back them up. The tech-based systems that these human-based systems leverage to give you exactly what you want out of the entire human-made system. And when these human-made systems stack on top of each other and do the right thing that they're supposed to do, you have an Authentic A.S.S infrastructure that's working for you. And this should all serve you. Every part of the Authentic A.S.S infrastructure has got to serve you, or it's going to be a failing system altogether. You don't want to be working the system, constantly tweaking and building the Authentic A.S.S infrastructure. If it works for you, once it's built, it's going to work for you. And the only time you're going to need to change it is when you grow, you become more of a badass. Well, this Authentic A.S.S infrastructure's got to become more of a badass. All right? So please, y'all know I'm about to get into this implementation guide that I got for you, because I do not ever want you to be in a situation where you're hearing me say something and you don't know how to activate it. But please do not take this implementation guide I am about to give you and create a failing system for yourself. I want you to make sure you tailor this to your entire truth right now. And remember, that's the greatness plus the mess. All right? And if you have some questions about what I've shared in this video, please do not hesitate to use this QR code to book a free consultation with me. I still give out 1 hour because that's about how long it takes to talk about a failing system. So if you'd like to get up close and personal with the Ratchet Sage, book your free consultation today. Also, if you're new here, you probably don't know that each episode's implementation guide is tailored to make it easier for you to activate what has been provoked within you. Because I'll be telling you a lot of stuff in these episodes, and I want you to be able to succeed with what I've shared so far, and also prepare you for the deeper dives that we will take this quarter into the 7 components of Authentic A.S.S infrastructure. So about that implementation guide, I want you to get clear in these key elements for systems that slay. You need all 3 of them. So get ready to take some notes, all right? I want you to get clear in how you include authenticity and integrity when you develop your systems. That'll give you a clue to what human-made systems might not be working for you. Clarify and implement authenticity and integrity in your systems development process. I also want you to focus on how to create actionable safe spaces with Authentic A.S.S systems. We talked about that tonight, but if you can see how you can create an actionable safe space for yourself through implementation of Authentic A.S.S systems, then you'll be able to do that. If not, let's have a chat. I also bet you can see how to increase your agency and your impact with Authentic A.S.S infrastructure. Because after this episode, you'll be able to see that those 7 components, if you're a coach, a freelancer, and a solopreneur, and you have all 7 of those components of your Authentic A.S.S infrastructure, you will have agency and you will be making an impact. So I want you to think about what that means for you. And after you're done thinking about that, processing it, I want you to come back into the comments and tell me what your biggest aha moment was, okay? So that's what I have for y'all today. Let me recap what we talked about tonight so y'all walk away with it fresh in your head. Human-based systems are just as crucial as tech-based systems to your business, and they should be developed first, okay? And your tech-based systems should support your human-based systems, not dictate them. Systems must be authentic to your whole ass truth, both your strengths and your challenges. Okay, we working with your greatness and your mess when we are developing your systems. And it's all about that ass or your actionable safe space over here. So whether it's a human-based or a tech-based system, be sure to create authentic ass systems that work together as infrastructure. And I gave you a preview of what we are going to be getting into this quarter, my 7 components of authentic ass infrastructure. So you make sure you stay tuned, all right? And never forget, for your systems to work for you, your systems must reflect your authentic self. And when they don't, you're going to end up building a legacy that you're going to have to double back down on or drastically change along the way. This is ashy. Start building your legacy today by creating systems that work as infrastructure to truly serve you. That's Rebelutionary. And my hope is that this video empowers you to recognize your unique needs and build systems that support your authentic growth journey. All right? That's what this is all about. Hey. And if this video resonated with you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss my systems insights for dreamers, visionaries, and revolutionaries. And smash that like button if you're ready to transform your failing systems into ones that truly serve who you be, what you do, and what you want to be known for. And hey, if you know another coach, freelancer, or entrepreneur who's struggling with systems that just don't work, share this video with them. You can both join my community of change makers who aren't afraid to create systems that honor their authentic selves. The link is in the description. And lastly, you can always follow me on social media, all right? Oh my gosh, we've come to the end, but major gratitude for rocking with the Ratchet Sage live if you joined me live, and in your own time and space if you did not. I appreciate you coming to learn from me. So let's get into my countdown, blow up this video, and then we will close out with my theme song. 5, I want you to stay open so you can explore as you live. 4, prioritize choice so you can navigate your life and your world. There is no navigation without choice, so make sure you out here choosing, all right? 3, center acceptance so you can discern and decide for yourself. I'm not saying accept what has happened to you. I'm saying accept that it has happened so you can discern and decide what you want to do about it, all right? 2, encourage agency so you and others can innovate. There's a lot of shit that's fucked up out here in this world. We want to make sure we get some innovation to fix it, all right? So we got to encourage agency in yourself and also in other people so that we can have innovation. And 1 last, definitely not least, value your desire so that you can activate. That does not mean what other people want for you or what you think you should want for you. What you actually want for you is what you want to value, okay? Value your desire so that you can activate in this world. And with that, the Ratchet Sage is out in this time and space, and I'm going to leave you with peace.